right, hey there, folks. I'm meteorologist Matt Barentine, getting everything going here in the Fox 10 Gulfstream Center. Obviously, it's going to be chilly tonight. I think you probably already got that figured out, right? Yeah, I don't need to tell you that. It's pretty crazy. Here we are at 2 in the afternoon, 35. You know, having a cold night or a very cold morning is, you know, it happens. We get those in the winter. It's a pretty rare day, though, and mid-30s are your high. We'll probably go up another degree or two, so I think we'll top out 36, 37 degrees, maybe 38 here this afternoon. So we'll get up there a little bit more. But, you know, any day that we have where we stay below 40 degrees for a high, that's pretty intense for us. And, of course, here we got on top of these temperatures, which are now, I mean, Evergreen's still below freezing. So some of our inland areas are still below freezing here at the moment. I mean, this is compared to yesterday at this time. Look at this. 41 degrees chillier in Evergreen right now than it was yesterday at this time. So you do the math, it was well up into the 60s yesterday at this time. So that is intense. I mean, that is a serious drop in temperature. So very uncomfortable indeed. Here's what's going to happen as we go through the rest of the afternoon on into the early part of the evening. These temperatures taking that big dive after sunset. So like I said, maybe about 38 or so, then we'll drop down. As soon as the sun sets, basically we go below freezing within about 30 minutes. And then temperatures will continue to drop through the 20s. And it will still be a bit breezy out there. So there's still going to be a wind chill. I mean, our wind chills at best today are in the upper 20s. I mean, you walk outside right now, it's brutal. Even in the middle of the day with the sunshine, it looks pretty if you look out the window. But once you step out there, like, wow. And then you see these numbers overnight, the wind chills as we go towards midnight, dropping well down into the teens there for us this evening. Go ahead and get you. Thankfully, the skies have cleared. At least we're getting sunshine. But that's crazy, too, that we're 35 degrees and it's sunny. It's 27 right now in Evergreen, and it's sunny. That's really unusual for us. I mean, usually if we have one of these cold days in the wintertime, it's generally because we have a lot of cloud cover. All right, so check this out. So here come the numbers. I'm going to take you all the way around the area, so kind of wherever you're at, we're eventually going to get to you. All right, so here's Mobile and Baldwin counties. 17 in Mobile is what we're anticipating. The last time we got that cold, I believe, was back in 2018, January of 2018. We actually had 2 mornings in a row that we got down to 17 in Mobile. So that happens every few years. I mean, although I hate to say this, but 2018 was 6 years ago. January 2018 was 6 years ago. Doesn't seem like it, but it was. But every few years we do get mornings like this. Bay Minette 17, Mount Vernon 17, Citronelle 16. But look at this. This is what's crazy. Even all the way down to Gulf Shores, we're talking about a hard freeze, dropping down to 21. The mildest spot will be Dauphin Island at 26. All right, so that's Mobile and Baldwin. Let's go over to the Panhandle. And we're going to be talking about teens north of I-10, 16 in Walnut Hill, 18 in Munson. South of I-10 will be the low 20s. Warm spots will be Fort Walton Beach and Destin in the mid-20s. And something happened here. Where's my... Okay. Sorry, this computer has all kinds of pop-ups that pop up. I don't know why. All right, so there we go. Get that thing going again because we want to go inland now for our folks that live inland. And this is going to be pretty brutal in the morning. I mean, very rare that we see Tina 13s show up on the forecast board here. Thomasville, Coffeyville, 14s in Jackson, Grove Hill, Monroeville. So that's some intense stuff here for tomorrow morning. And then I'll head over to our Mississippi counties, low 20s to here in Pascagoula, but you see dropping down into the teens as we move inland to Loosedale and Leakesville. And tomorrow morning will still be a bit breezy at times. I need to pull that up for you. It will still be a bit breezy at times. So we're talking about wind chills that will be pretty brutal here tomorrow morning. I think that's, yeah, here it is. Trying to find the right one. So this is around the region, our wind chills here for Wednesday morning. Like I said, there's every few years we do have a morning where we get down into the teens. But usually by that point, the winds have basically died off and we don't have much of a wind chill on top of it. So this is pretty unusual to have that wind chill still going tomorrow morning. There'll still be a breeze out of the north, 10, maybe 12 miles per hour. And that's going to make it feel like single digits. It won't be blowing at, 20, 25 miles an hour, thankfully. But it'll be pretty rough. So this is why some of the school systems are looking at this. I know that Baldwin County is starting late tomorrow. If you're a Baldwin County parent, you need to check your emails. I do not believe Mobile County has made any decisions yet. I'll check my emails because I have one of my kids goes into a Mobile County school. And I think Escambia County in Florida has already decided to cancel classes for tomorrow. So we're going to have to keep an eye on all that because of this. Obviously, this is the kind of deal, folks, where we need to take all of our cold weather precautions. We talk about the 4 Ps: people, pets, plants, pipes. This is one of those nights where obviously everything's on the board. We got to take care of everything. Hopefully, you've already done some of this stuff because it's pretty chilly to have to go out there and do it now. But if you haven't, I mean, hopefully you can get that hose off. You're supposed to disconnect the hoses, cover up the spigots, Sell those things at the store, which they're all sold out, so you're not going to find them today at Home Depot or Walmart, those things that you put over your spigots. You could wrap a towel or rag around your spigot, put a little duct tape. That works the same way. Then, of course, you want to drip your pipes tonight, drip inside. Just a drip. You don't need to run it full out. Just a little bit of a drip. Obviously, any plants that you don't want to die in pots out there, bring them in, cover up. The other ones you can't bring in. I've got a hibiscus that lives in my yard, and about every other year it dies, but every other year it makes it through the winter. So I'm trying to save it, but probably won't be able to. I've got it covered, but this is probably too cold to save it even covered. Bring in the pets, obviously. Hopefully you've already got your best cold weather gear ready to go. And of course, last thing is make sure if you're using a space heater to use it safely, okay? We don't want to see any fires because of space heaters out there this evening. Now, it has been, brutally cold today along with the wind. I mean, look at these wind gusts we've had. 35 in Mobile, that happened at 11 a.m. this morning. Pensacola had a 41 mile per hour wind gust. Evergreen about 32. I wanted to show you this too. Obviously, we got a lot of ice and snow around the area. Well, not much snow. There are some flakes mixed in. Mostly what we had today, we had a round of sleet and a little bit of freezing rain. And the sleet, this is where the heaviest of the sleet fell. Now, I know if you're outside of this peak band, you're like, well, I saw some sleet too. Yeah, I get that. This is where we saw the most, where it actually accumulated on the ground fairly decently. And if it's in the shade, it's still sitting there. It's been that cold day where if it's in the shade, we still have sleet sitting on the ground. Now, the roads started out okay this morning, and then that sleet melted a little bit on some of our bridges and overpasses, and then refroze as the temperatures dropped. That happened around 8 or 9 in the morning, so later in the morning. The good news is most of that is now evaporated off. We're not going to have many issues on the roads, not seeing very many issues out there. So obviously still be careful, keep an eye out for any slick spots, but most of that, it just wasn't enough moisture to fully ice over the area. So that was fortunate for us. Wasn't enough moisture to fully ice over the area. So most of our roadways are looking pretty good right now. I'm not seeing any major problems, and I'm checking out some of the ALDOT sites and things like that. Seems like we're doing okay. Overnight tonight, obviously, it's going to be real cold again, but most of the moisture is off the roads. But like I said, if there's anywhere where a little bit of water can pool up or anything like that, we're going to have to watch out for that overnight tonight and going into tomorrow morning. Shouldn't be a major problem, but just something to be aware of. Once again, obviously going to be awful cold here overnight tonight, going into tomorrow morning. Let me get the numbers back up here. If you're joining a little bit late and you haven't seen the numbers for tomorrow morning yet, here they are. And we're talking as low as about 13 degrees for some of our inland areas. Mobile, we're going with 17. Like I mentioned it earlier, we've seen 17 January of 2018. We actually had 2 mornings in a row of 17 degrees. So this happens from time to time. It doesn't happen every year, though. We don't see teens every year. Some years, you know, we barely even get down to the low 20s. Mid to low 20s is generally about most years about where we go to. So every few years, though, we do get a big polar blast like this one, and it drops our temperatures way on down. So that's what we're seeing out there right now. I'm going to go ahead and put up the big picture map. I want to show you something too. It's like, so there's that bitter cold, what they call the polar vortex. Still, look at Miami, sitting at 82 degrees right now. New York City is only a few degrees difference than what we are. So you can see it's fairly mild up much of the East Coast. Caribou, Maine, which is, you know, like an ice box up there, is 22 degrees, which for them actually isn't all that bad. So some warm air is kind of on the other side of all this. So, and as far below normal as we are up here in the Hudson region of Canada, it's way above normal. So it's like a seesaw. When that cold air plunged from the polar areas, from the North Pole essentially all the way down here, warm air kind of filtered in behind it. So they're actually much warmer than normal up around the North Pole in northern Canada. They're actually way above normal. So just like a seesaw, we got it all down here. But that's some pretty bitter cold, and you know, I would say about 3/4 of the country right now is dealing with some really chilly air. And of course, as this front moves off the East Coast, all these temperatures will drop too. So by the time we wake up tomorrow morning, the only warm spots in the country are going to be South Florida and the Southwest. Everywhere else will be pretty chilly, very chilly indeed. So this is a pretty significant Arctic outbreak that we're experiencing across much of the country. It is some chilly air that we are all dealing with. All right, so I got to go here in a few minutes to get ready for the 3 o'clock show. One more thing I wanted to put up though before I go, and if I can get this computer to work, it doesn't want to. Trying to put up the long range forecast. If I can get this thing to work, I don't know if I'm able to get it to work. Let's see. I'm going to click on it and just see if it'll do it. Come on, you can do it. I think I got it. All right, come on. There we go. All right, so I wanted to put this up because I wanted to show you it's going to happen the next few days. Obviously, Thursday morning, 29, that's still pretty chilly, but doing better than what we're going to see tomorrow morning. Into the 50s in the afternoon, which is still below normal, but it'll feel a little bit better. Then look what happens over the weekend. Another round of chilly Arctic air sliding on down. Low 20s both Saturday and Sunday morning. Not forecasting the teens as of yet, but low 20s, so nearly as cold as what we experience tomorrow morning. And you can see highs only in low 40s on Saturday, mid to upper 40s on Sunday. So another round of very cold air coming up for us this weekend. So as you take your cold weather precautions here today, I mean, I guess if you have a plant outside or something like that, you may need to uncover it for a couple of days, but then cover it right back up for Saturday and Sunday. If you have potted plants that you brought inside, just leave them inside until next week, probably till next Monday. That's what else we're going to do. So a wintry run, mid to late January, though that can happen, and that's exactly what we're getting. So enjoy it, I guess. Stay warm, be careful with the space heaters, and stay safe out there as we continue to deal with this Arctic chill. So I'm meteorologist Matt Barentine.